Hey, it's Kimberly Smith Austin, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Made to Inspire podcast. I am here with the awesome and amazing Misty Kerrigan. Hey, Misty.
Hey, Kimberly. How are you today?
I am super fantastic. Excited to be back to continue our discussion on innovation. Last week, we talked about a lot of things. We talked about the first part of clarifying the innovation process and really thinking about it. But now we're going to get into dump it. Dump it, which is another phase in our book, but it relates to now getting those ideas out of your head, out of your heart, and really brainstorming. So tell us more about this.
Well, we're on the edge of our seat because it's one of our favorite ones.
Yes.
Now, we love them with ideanators. We have like so many words for ideas, so our brains think so fast that we're coming up with ideas all the time. And so in the process, after clarifying, going into that deeper dive, it's now the next step of the process, which is ideas.
Yeah, ideating. Right?
Ideating, what a fun word.
I know, that's the fun of it. And so when you think about this in your organization, whether small or big, this is where the fun comes in, and this is where you get the team involved. Don't do it alone, although you can, but get the team involved because you're going to get more bang for your buck. And we talk about that as we go into the process of ideation. And so, Missy, when we think about it, I want to say this. Creativity is on demand. What was that?
It's in demand.
Oh, in demand. Oh, I'm like, what? It's on demand too.
Like the TV show?
Right. In demand, on demand. That's right. Either way, when we think about that, this is so important. And that's why we brought it back to you. Really, even as our own organization, we're innovating by bringing this into the midst of our process. We've talked about innovation, we've talked about inspiration, and now we're bringing it back to life. And so we wanted to bring it to you.
I love it because when we talked about last episode where, as you learned from a young age that Kimberly was a professional problem solver, is that a quote I read one time says, if you want to make more money, if you want to make bigger money, solve more bigger problems.
Yes.
Solve bigger problems.
That's
and
right.
the way to solve bigger problems is to bring fresh, new, innovative ways to be able to do that.
That's right.
Now, there's sometimes, have you ever seen a process that you thought you had that idea and then you didn't do nothing about it, and then a year later or something, like someone had your idea?
All the time. All the time.
So we want to eliminate that, or at least decrease it, so that we're giving you the opportunity to work in the phases so that we could not get stuck in ideas or not get stuck in clarifying things,
Yes.
but really in the phases of let's live in this phase.
That's it.
And have fun. I love this. This is the only phase where they said this is the fun phase.
That's right. Because we get to throw things at the board and see what sticks. Think about it. You know, you're throwing stuff out here, and we'll talk about a little bit later more than idea generation, but then making sure you go into action. And that's one of the phases. But we really want to encourage you to take the time here. When you think about ideas, this is the big picture thinking. You're just throwing stuff out there. And I love it because we want to encourage you to recognize there's balance. There is no end to creativity. It's the only end is what you place on it. So we want to throw the crazy, the amazing, the fun things out there, and then later we will then evaluate this. But right now, it's get it out.
So we even want to talk about an idea
Yes.
that we were in a chamber meeting last week, and they said there's this new innovative idea of how to even let cars on the freeway.
Yes.
And Temecula's going to move forth with it. And we were both sitting there like, what the hell? I've never heard of that. But it seems that even the counties that we're working with, that not just the jobs or the corporations, but everyone in 2025, including your city, is sort of looking for more innovation, especially in cities here. We live in California where more and more people are moving to them.
Yes.
You have to be very innovative how we're going to take care of the community as it expands.
Right. And I love it because when you think about the idea generation process, and I want to talk to the emerging leaders, the entrepreneurs, the CEOs, all of you really thinking about this is the lifeline. This is the bloodline of your business. So when you think about this is really looking at so many aspects. When you're able to innovate, when you're able to bring the team in, when you're able to ideate and really come up with new solutions, new problems, New problems, yeah, you create those too in the
Absolutely.
process. But new problems, but also new products and services that can serve your market. You're taking your business to the next level.
Oh my gosh! And how many clients have we worked with where they come with I just do photography, and now they're exploding, expanding out because now they're doing helping with marketing, helping with social media, taking them from. There was another great one that you did, even with fitness.
Yes.
You took the idea of fitness and exploded out into apps and into programs and
Yes.
so it really is there's no such thing as a small idea.
Yeah, which in fact, I want to give us a personal shameless plug.
Oh, please.
We are perfect for that. I call myself the 10-minute strategist. You share your idea, boom, we've got new places that we're going to go and take it. And Misty, you're the same. We sit down with organizations and what they see is this problem or this idea, and we're able to expand it on a larger scope. So that's what the power of idea generation is. So we're going to talk about that in a greater detail.
I love that. I want to jump into, actually, that one is what is the outcome of having an idea creator process in your own company where people get to come in. Disney does this.
Yeah.
They have an entire room where they just invite the creators in with their ideas, and they sit for hours and they just fill up boards on the room. And there's no naysayers, there's no that won't work. All it is what's next, what's next, what's next.
Mm-hmm.
In the child and family teaming process, we call this the brainstorming process.
Yes.
Now, you told me today, though, that not only is it fun and it helps people get their ideas out, but there's some really psychological consequences to having this set and having your teams sit in an idea meeting.
Right? It gives them purpose. It gives them meaning to who they are and their role in the organization. And that's why we want to encourage you to make sure you get the team involved. Don't do this alone. We're better together, right? Remember that. And so when you think about that, how does it impact the greater good of the organization? Your purpose, the climate, the culture, again, psychological safety, the knowledge and depth in which your people get involved, but then motivation. I know when I've worked in corporate settings, when they said, Kimberly, come take a seat at the table, that meant I mattered, and they wanted to hear my thoughts and my ideas. And I want to encourage you, as you go through this ideation process, think about how to get your team involved and how it impacts their overall position in the organization, their feeling about where they sit, and then their overall well-being. Power.
I love it too, because that's directly connected to intrinsic motivation, where as a leader of a company or as a business of an owner, I want my employees to be empowered to be innovative and to make decisions and to be able to feel that they could bring their ideas forward. And the only way to do that is if they feel psychologically safe in the team to do that. Now, if I've not done that before, a brilliant way to start is just holding a meeting called the idea meeting and letting them know the parameters of the meeting is to not worry about judgment, but just to speak their mind.
Yeah.
And solutions for the idea, it's not a gripe meeting, it's here's the problem, here's how we should solve it, now everyone just go around the room.
You know what I love though? One of the things I've heard over the years is sometimes people won't get involved, especially if they don't think they're good idea generators. They don't think, oh, I'm not creative, I'm no good at that. They don't want to get involved. And the studies have said in the past that it was a right brain thing. That right brain people only were creative. But the studies are now saying that's not necessarily true. We all have the capacity to create, at least to some extent. And it's common for all of us. And I think that's why we want to help your organization pull those things out so you can have more and create more, innovate more in and outside of your organization for a better and bigger bottom line.
Now, I know you really have this kind of been working on it in different organizations. You have a process for divergent thinking and helping employees be able to sit in that space.
I don't know if it's mine, though.
You utilize, how's that?
I don't want to claim ownership because, the creative problem-solving process or creative thinking process has been around. But there's 4 things that we can talk about, and it's called divergent thinking. There's divergent and there's convergent thinking, which we'll talk about a little bit. But right now, it's all about divergent. And the first step or the first rule, if you will, I get so excited when I talk. Don't judge the ideas. Don't judge the ideas. Get them out there. Look and see what's possible. What worked before doesn't matter. What didn't work, what does work doesn't matter. Just throw those ideas out there on the table. And remember, there is no judgment. And in organizations, this has been something that has stopped organizations from moving forward because they don't take the time to think divergently. They go right into judgment mode. There's a place and time for that. Right now, no judgment. Throw it out on the whiteboard, put it on the parking lot, put it out there so then we can work through it at that next phase.
I love that. Step 2 is to think wild and crazy and impossible and ridiculous. Now, if you're the leader in the room, set the tone. So when I'm doing this in my process with my team, I might say something as funny as, well, aliens could come down and help us because they're going to be 10 times faster in developing this. So put aliens on the board. And everyone's like, what the hell? I was like, no, but if I put aliens on the board, someone else might think of like, oh, what about part-time Christmas workers or holiday workers?
Yes.
Because some businesses hire part-time people during the year to help with supply and demand. So aliens on the board might help people just be a little bit more creative, especially if I'm the leader in the room and I say something crazy, then someone's not going to be embarrassed to maybe say something amazing that they wouldn't have said because they thought it was crazy.
I love that. I love that. And when we think about it, let's look at number 3, because I think this is all a part of the process. Go for quantity, not quality. Now, I do want to encourage you to maybe consider setting a time, saying, you know what, we're going to spend 15, 20, an hour on this brainstorming process, on the ideation process. And when you're doing it, remember, no judgment. Number 2, think wild and crazy. But number 3, go for quantity. Who cares about the quality of it at this time? So if you've identified the timeline, maybe you come up with 300 ideas. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but if everyone in the room, everyone on the team is involved in that process, you're just throwing them out there, boom, 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 shooting those shots and letting them sit out there. And then later, we go back to that step of convergent thinking, but not right now. We're focused on quantity and not the quality.
And the nice part with quantity, when it reminds someone of something else, it moves us to step 4, which is really, it's building on others' ideas. A real life example is that we do, Kimberly and the nonprofit Empowerment Women Wellness do 2 events a year. Got a business, a event that focuses on women in business.
Yep.
And then another event that focuses more on motivation and women. And so we were sitting in a room one time and we said, we need some help. I wonder if we could, what would that look like? Just have people show up and help us and create a better experience for those that paid and are coming. And we wrote that on the board. We need extra people to help. And then someone said, hey, you know, nowadays high schoolers need credit.
Yes.
In community service, and we're a nonprofit. What if we have high schoolers come help and they can get their credits? They could be exposed to motivation and some really powerful women, and at the end of the day, we'll have more people to create a better solution. But we wouldn't have got to there without the beginning of it, which was understanding more people are going to help, and then taking that idea and refining it and refining it and refining it. Now, there's going to be more things for refining, but if you see an idea on the board that reminds you of another idea, it's okay to piggyback off of it and add it to the board.
That's right. And I love that because from that, I believe, from that high school idea, we came up with senior citizens who are retired and have more time. So we're always building on that. And that's the concept of you're going to build and build and build. So as you can see, this is so much fun when you get to throw those ideas that are in your head and in your heart out there on the board, crazy as they may be. Now it gets someone else thinking, because Misty thinks from a different lens or sees life from a different lens than I do, which then allows us to build, again, quantity over quality. So when you think about this, we want to challenge you this week in your organization to now go and identify, after you've identified a problem, now is the time to work on that idea, the brainstorming process, and just go crazy. Go crazy. Set a timer, bring the team in the room, and everybody go to work. What do you think about that?
Have fun with it.
Yes.
So another way, I want to give you a quick tip that we do sometimes. Say you have a shy team and they're not in that trust yet, that psychological safety could just get in the room and give ideas. Post-its.
Yes.
Post-its. Have everyone, make sure everyone has all different colors so you can't tell who's whose, but with some of the ideas at first stay anonymous, they'll get used to sharing the ideas, and then eventually you could be in the room. You don't need the post-it, you're just raising your hand and throwing stuff at the wall. But sometimes with the teams who don't have that safety, we got to do those baby steps to get them there.
That's right, because there are team members, again, who don't think they're creative, who don't think they can add value to the process. We want to pull them in. We know that there's something back there in there that they can add to. So we want to value them as we value you and encourage you this time, this week, to go out and build on your ideation motion or muscle, if you will. Ideate, brainstorm, dream, and create, because there's something out there waiting for you.
Now go get it.